All right, what is going on, everybody? This is the Broken Podcast, episode 2. We got Corey, and we also have Dom in the chat room, and we also have Paul in the chat room. And this week we have some very interesting topics with the gaming industry. And our first topic we want to start off with is YouTube possibly buying Twitch for $1 billion. This is still a rumor, but what do you guys all think about this?
Well, first off, I think it should ease everyone's fears. It does gaming channels with getting a massive ban hammer down the line. Going, if YouTube is moving this direction, I don't see them banning any big gameplay channels at all.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying how since YouTube, I think it was earlier this year, have been pushing this like content ID stuff where they really ban certain gameplays and let's plays and stuff like that. But you gotta note that the Twitch company has a ton of lawyers, and they've been legalizing these let's plays and these gaming commentaries, and then like how like some Twitch live streamers, how they play copyrighted music in the background. They've had lawyers fight against these cases and won cases, so I really don't think this is a huge problem for Twitch users.
Well, I didn't know that part with the Twitch. I've only dabbled in it a little bit, but maybe that would actually help out YouTube in the long run, protecting their user base, those that are actually uploading, those that are making them money.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
well,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. Just thinking because YouTube has never taken that legal stance to protect its uploaders.
And the only bad thing is somewhat YouTube say they do deploy this this content ID program to Twitch too, and this merger buyout type thing goes through. If they push that against everybody, the gaming industry would really struggle, because what other website would you go to watch gaming content? Because most people go to YouTube or Twitch, and if those two combined and they have these really tough rules to upload gameplay, it really hurt the gaming video side of businesses and that.
Well, one of my questions is honestly how feasible would it be to even try to content ID something that's going live? Because you don't know what's there until it can actually be scanned and looked at.
Yeah, it would be really difficult to figure that stuff out, whether or not it's copyrighted material and stuff like that. I really don't know how they would do that. I'd hope they don't. But go ahead.
No, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
All right. And I just really hope YouTube, if they really do buy this company, that they don't mess with it too much. I mean, they can really help with the infrastructure, get more servers on there, get better quality and stuff like that. But like implementing like Google Plus comment system, stuff like that, I think it would really destroy Twitch as a website.
Yeah, that was actually along my thought process, is going that if YouTube actually makes this purchase, to me it wouldn't be to change around Twitch at all. It'd be like when Disney bought Marvel. It's because they're wanting to this cash cow.
Yeah. I mean, they could integrate it with YouTube, but I feel like it would be really difficult for them to do it right, and I have a feeling that they would integrate it poorly, and it could really destroy Twitch. That's my biggest worry.
So I don't see them trying to change Twitch around. Possibly make it so they have better servers. Being that suddenly they may have access to Google servers, which would be a huge upgrade to them. But any more than the technical side there, I don't see them wanting to mess around with, because it's already being a proven system.
Yeah. Dom, do you have anything to add to this?
Not really.
All right. So I guess we'll move on to our next topic about Crytek. If you guys don't know who they are, they're a pretty big gaming developer. They make some really impressive looking games, and they're talking about the next gen consoles, the PS4 and Xbox One. And they personally think that these new consoles with 8 gigs of RAM will be a bottleneck for these consoles, and it'll be limiting the graphics and the frame rate and stuff like that. So I was just wondering how long, if this is true, and a lot of other companies were questioning the power behind these consoles, how long do you think these consoles can actually last for?
Well, how long that they have to last for is quite honestly the generation. If they did something wrong, let's say Wii U levels wrong, they got to do what Nintendo does and do their best to ride it through. But as far as seeing something better and better, Crytek may be right, and they may already be hitting that area where we're not going to see any real improvement.
Yeah, and because a lot of these developers are saying they're maxing out on these consoles already because these um, PC components in these consoles, they're not um, different. They're not like how the 360 and the PS3 were, where they're like unique architectures. This is PC architecture, and they've been developing for these for many years, so they're very familiar with it. And since they're basically maxing out, like some of these games are 720p, 900p, and they're not getting full 1080p, is kind of worrying me.
Yeah, and one of my thoughts along with that whole, resolution gate that's been going on, just to throw in my 2 cents, with my PC personally, my PC is 3 years old, and I just spent $130 going from a GTX 460 to a 750, and suddenly I'm running games, next gen games, just as good, if not better, than the consoles. Well, more than likely, way better. And really, I want to know why they didn't spend a little bit extra money to put that little extra horsepower of a card in that would have made a world difference.
Yeah, because I personally cannot see this console generation lasting more than 5 years because the horsepower in these consoles just isn't there.
Yeah, and that reminds me, it was several years back. It was somewhere around the midway point of this last generation where the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 just paid off their R&D costs, and someone put out an article talking about that Nintendo could actually still put out a new console every 5 years, whereas Sony and Microsoft couldn't do it, and they're really setting themselves up to, you know, falling into that area of having to.
Yeah, personally, if I was like the research and development team of the Xbox division, I would have like never did anything with Connect. I would have just like said that was a failure, whatever like that. But I would have improved the hardware in there, make it $500. But just imagine if you could spend an extra $100 on the GPU, how much better games would be looking versus the PS4. You'd be hitting 1080p, 60 FPS on all your games.
Well, and when I go, well, that I spent $130, that was also my price. Going, also got to keep in mind that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo all get manufacturer's price, which is completely different from what we see, and that's because they can order 1 million, 2 million, 5 million of each piece, making it so each piece is like dirt cheap.
hmm Do you see like maybe in the future that say Microsoft or Sony or something like that offer like an external thing where you could like plug it into the console and get way better performance, way better graphics later on a couple years in the future?
That may or may not be hard to do. It really depends. Since I don't have the PS4 or Xbox One, I don't know if there's any expansion ports on those machines themselves. If there is, then it would easily be done, kind of like the 64 did back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it it wouldn't be too hard for the developers to optimize both, like if you have an Xbox One and one person upgrades to get this expansion thing versus the other, since they're all PC-based components, it wouldn't be too hard to optimize both versions of it, the console version.
Well, and there they would just take a page out of PC gaming as going that no one's PC is alike, and not everyone's PC can run everything the same. So they have every texture quality that they made, be it the console texture quality, or if you're running a Titan quality, they can
Hmm.
have those same textures in there ready to go, and it could just see that going, oh, you have this. I can turn all this on now.
Yeah, the only other way I could see these consoles lasting beyond 5 years per se would be the cloud. We really don't know how this is going to work, or even if it does work, but it seems like Microsoft's really pushing the cloud rendering, and it seems like Sony's more pushing the cloud kind of like playability of last gen games and stuff like that. I don't know which one's going to be better.
Well, personally, I'll put my money down on the retro gaming aspect, as those aren't really nearly as intensive and nowhere near the file size, versus trying to keep up with these next gen games coming. I think that's going to take too much horsepower from Microsoft servers to do it, to even pull it.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be uh, cloud rendering the whole game. Maybe like what they said, where they just work on the physics or the AI or something like that to take off some of the load of the actual consoles in your house.
It may be possible, but I wouldn't be putting any money on it until I actually see it performing. You know,
Yeah, I
my
feel like
same thoughts with the Connect going. I wasn't putting it down. I was against it, but I wasn't putting it down until I actually saw what it could do. And any kind of new technology, it falls into that line.
hmm I feel like if we don't see anything at E3 or later this year about Microsoft's cloud rendering or improving graphics or something like that, I feel like it's probably not going to happen on this generation at least.
And that's one of the things that people are talking about, going that this may be a technology that becomes really real, but it might not be for this generation. It might be another 10 years down the road. And really, one of the biggest contributors to how well this would work is based on how well everyone's internet is, because not everyone is in an area that they can run broadband.
Yeah, and I know Microsoft's some of the viewers may be talking about how Microsoft at one of their build conferences showed off the cloud running on two PCs, one PC with the cloud backing it up and another one without it, and you would see a huge difference in frame rate when the building was coming down, but we still don't know how good the internet connection. It could have been gigabyte fiber, but we really don't know how that is because they never talked about it too much.
And that's kind of the deal, is trying to find any information on how this is going to be working is it's like non-existent. There's no information to be found.
Yeah, and I read an article, I don't know, a couple months ago, talking about how these companies don't, like Microsoft and Sony, should not show off the cloud because if they do, and say it works on like really slow internet, why can't say Activision or Rockstar say we don't want to publish it on your console? We're just gonna send it to all these other cloud-based things because you only need like a $5, $10 box to connect to the internet. So if they can do it all in the cloud, why would they go through Microsoft or Sony?
I missed that article. It's one I should try to look up and see if I can
Yeah,
find it.
it was really interesting too because it makes it's kind of like how do I say it? Like Netflix, like these cloud video streaming services. You have movies on different services like Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, stuff like that, and it's like you have to go to Netflix to see this one movie, And if you want to see a different TV show or movie, they might not have it on Netflix, but they might have it on Amazon. I feel like that's what's going to happen with the cloud. If you want to go play Call of Duty, you need to go through Activision's route. If you want to go play GTA, you have to go through Rockstar, and they won't really need the middleman of Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, because you can just render it off those third parties servers. But
It sounds like an interesting business concept. Although, again, I have to wait to see it be in fruition before I can get a real opinion about it.
yeah, me personally, I really don't think the cloud is really going to do anything, if anything at all. I feel like it's going to be a big thing later on, but not really this generation. But talking about graphics and power and stuff like that, there's been a lot of leaks and people getting early copies of Watch Dogs and stuff like that. A lot of people have been reporting that Watch Dogs looks like last gen. It looks really bad and stuff like that. So what do you guys think of all the leaks and graphics and stuff like that?
Well, when you showed me a video about the Watch Dogs and the 360, my first opinion on the scene, it looked like GTA 5 from last generation's console.
Yeah, and you got to remember that they're doing pretty good on developing for the 360. This is like 10-year-old hardware, and to get somewhat GTA-like graphics on those systems is quite impressive, actually.
Yeah, and quite honestly, the gameplay that you're seeing on the 360, how good do you actually expect it to really look? You know, it's like I say, it's nearly 10 years old. You know,
Yeah.
the fact that they can squeeze anything out of it at this point is a marvel.
And you're actually kind of lucky if you're a 360 or PS3 user, because they could have just skipped out on that and just went next gen only in PC.
Well, they're probably
Because
trying to get as many people as they could to
Like-
buy the game.
well,
You're cutting out
like
a
other
bit.
generation, yeah, they just skipped out on the last generation consoles. They just worked on the newest consoles instead of developing for the and they're actually kind of lucky for
Well,
being developed for the PS360.
yeah, I
Even
can
next gen,
definitely attest to that going from the SA. Yeah. Well,
everybody.
and I was.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, you're cutting in and out. So.
There's that. I,
He's cutting out so much.
Okay, are you back?
hello, am I okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So continue on with your thoughts. Huh?
Yeah, I was just thinking that the PS4 and the Xbox One graphics that we've seen doesn't look that impressive compared to what what we've been seeing at E3s previously.
Well, big thing to keep in mind there is the big E3 was run on a PC. You know, they can say what they want, but anyone who watched it know that that was PC. You know, the images that we got, everything. So trying to compare the E3 version to the Xbox One version, you know, it's like comparing the Xbox One to the 360, going, yeah, we're talking about a major difference in power and what it can do.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people were expecting what they've been showing off at E3 to work on their PS4 and Xbox One, but in reality, they're probably not going to get nearly as good as graphics as E3 was showing them.
Yeah, would be interesting is if they would have made the Xbox One and PS4 so you can like interchange parts, make it a hybrid PC, you know. Go, no, I want this video card, and be able to pump everything up. But
But then if you go there, then it's like, why don't you just go full PC? Because the
Yeah.
benefit of console is you have one unit. You don't have to worry about downloading patches, bug fixes for your graphics card, stuff like that. You just put the disc in, it works. And I feel like if you put all these different parts in there, it wouldn't work as simply as people wanted.
Yeah, which also add to the whole. Uh, I don't even know if they're out yet. The Steam boxes going. I don't see them doing good at all because they're trying. We don't even know who they're trying to target. The PC users or the console users to go, hey, check out what you've been missing. You know, because if they're trying to target PC, it's like we already have our gaming PC. We don't need that.
Yeah, exactly. Because can't you just grab your PC, grab an HDMI cable, plug it into your TV? Why would you go out and buy a Steam box?
Yeah, I could easily plug my PC into the big screen that's downstairs. I've got a 360 controller connected to it, so I could be playing Skyrim on the big screen if I wanted to right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, was it a couple weeks ago? I'm not sure. I don't PC game, but I heard that you can now stream your games from your PC to a lower end computer, and you could actually hook it up to your TV directly and just stream it over.
Well, possible.
Yeah.
Though I'd see that as doing extra work to do something.
Yeah, true. But if you just want to like sit back on your couch and just game without being mouse and keyboard right up to your monitor, that's an option, I guess.
Yeah. And the thing is that's a pretty easy option. Really, if I wanted to, I could have a wireless 360 controller on my PC right now. I just don't like anything wireless.
Yeah. But I just feel like if you want the best graphics, go PC. But if not, you just want the easy sit down on your couch style of gaming, probably go console.
And really, a lot of people, they should try to dabble in really doing both. You
Yeah.
know, because like me, multiplats, they're on PC, but as soon as there's more exclusives, be it for the PS4 or Xbox One, I may want to try to get back into consoles. I've been kind of eyeing my way of doing that since the announcement of the PS4. You know, so
Yeah, the biggest problem with that is money. A lot of people don't have all that much money, and that's why they're limited to one console, one PC.
yeah.
But anyways, we kind of touched on this earlier, but talk about motion controls and the Xbox brand I can't say discontinued. They unbundled it with their Xbox One, so now you can go out buy an Xbox One without Kinect. So is this showing that motion controls are going to die off?
Well, a major question there is motion controls a giant gimmick to gaming, being
Yeah.
it Microsoft, PlayStation, or Nintendo.
Yeah, what major game that actually was fun to play and for the hardcore gaming audience was there?
Wasn't there a Ghost Recon, Ghost or something?
With Kinect?
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know
not
if
sure.
I'm thinking it was for the 360. It was some Ghost Recon. That one actually, you can either use a controller or actually use the Kinect.
Hmm.
Wonder how well it ran.
I think since we haven't heard of it, I think that shows that it wasn't too successful.
Yeah.
Probably.
But so you think it's like Ghost Recon or something?
It's Ghost Recon Future Soldier, I'm pretty sure.
I'll look it up. Okay. But I don't remember anybody going out buying a Kinect to play this game though. But I'm not sure. But I really don't think that motion controllers are here to stay. I think it's a gimmick, the same way like 3D technology was for these TVs. Um, I really don't think it really immerses you into these games, but that's just my opinion on it.
And honestly, I'll throw VR for consoles and stuff like that into the same gimmick line. They're going that with a controller VR is, yeah, it's cool, but it's, it's a gimmick. So I'm kind of thinking, or at least my mind thought is going, for VR you have to have motion control, otherwise it's a gimmick and they're gimmicks without each other. So
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it's a gimmick yet, but until I try it, my opinion right now is probably more on the gimmicky side of for VR.
yeah, I'm thinking in order for it to push beyond being a gimmick, they right now the cost to get into it is still way too high, and without all the pieces of your chosen genre, it falls into the same lines.
Yeah, and I have a feeling it's going to do the same. Well, it's going to do the same as Connected for the 360. That there's just not enough games out there that take advantage of VR technologies to go out pay possibly $300 to use it in your house.
Yeah, you'd have to be a pretty hardcore gamer, and with that, with the controls with it, you would only be choosing one genre. Being at FPS racing or whatever, you're only gonna be able to get the all of the equipment for one specific genre, unless you're rolling in the money. But I'm not one of them.
Same here. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see how well all that turns out. VR technology, Connect, stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure that motion controls are dead. Um, but that's just my opinion because there's like no good games out there still. Connect Sports was a big flop. I guess like the only big game that's coming out for motion controls is Harmonix. The developer, I can't remember the game. Some music game, but I really don't think that's gonna be a huge seller since it's unbundled now. But
Yeah,
I still think there's going to be like that one game that comes out that use Kinect sensors.
for real,
Yeah, I'm almost certain there's going to be one game that comes out that everyone's going to love with Kinect sensors.
which
yeah,
may very well happen.
yeah. I hope it does, but I do have a Connect, so I'd love to see something take advantage of it. But anyways, PlayStation Now hit closed beta on the 20th, so that's 4 days ago for the PS4. And what it allows you to do is play older PS3, PS2, PS1 games on your PlayStation 4. Um, we kind of touched on this earlier in the episode about cloud gaming and stuff like that. But what do you guys think about playing older games rendering through the cloud?
Well, being PlayStation games, going that the last consoles that I touched was really the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube. There's a lot of games for me to catch up on, and if it gives me that ability, I'm all for it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you've seen all these redone games. Metro Last Light and Metro 2033, I believe, are getting remade. Most likely, GTA 5 will be remade. Tomb Raider got remade. Like a lot of these big games are getting remade. So why would I pay? And the Last of Us are getting remade. So what's the point of getting these backwards compatibility to some of the other games?
Well, I don't think all the games will be getting remade.
Yeah, obviously.
These were the major blockbusters at the end of the last generation, and they're kind of banking on the number of people buy the next one, which I don't know. We kind of have to wait around to see if the remakes will actually pan out or not. But if I could go back and relive Final Fantasy 7 to, well, maybe I'll ignore 10. That's what got me out of the series. But was it Frontier Saga or something like that? There was another RPG series that I was really getting into at the beginning of the PlayStation, but And those won't get remade because they're pretty tiny.
Yeah, there's a lot of smaller games that a lot of people might want to play and stuff that they never got to play. Um, would you? It's been rumored to be around $8 a month for PlayStation Now. Would you be willing to pay that to get access to some of these other games?
Oh, quite possibly. Oh, Netflix is now $9 a month, and plus I play MMOs. I still have a subscription to World of Warcraft. So subscriptions to, as long as the entertainment is behind it, people would probably pay it, and I'd probably be one of them. My major question though is are they still standing behind that it's not only if you have a PS4 that it's actually open to other places?
Oh, yeah, like the TV, the Vita, stuff like that, you mean?
Yeah, or if I could stream it straight to my PC just by having that, I would be in absolute heaven.
Yeah. And I would be willing to pay for it, but I wouldn't keep it year round. I'd probably pay it for a month, play some of these games, probably cancel it a couple months down, and then add it back on to my subscription list.
Well, and especially if for channels that do gameplay and stuff like that, there are large droughts where there's nothing new, nothing really worth mentioning, and it'd probably be good to relive one of your uh, favorite classics. Going, hey, check this out.
Yeah, that'd be really cool too. In case there's no good major games out there to play, to go back to play some of your favorite old system games. And Sony's been also talking about uh, for PlayStation Now doing demos for games instead of downloading the whole game. You can just stream the demo. But we kind of talked about that earlier about the cloud rendering and stuff like that. But it'd be kind of
But,
cool to do that.
but bringing back demos would actually be a pretty major thing for me. And honestly, I may be totally off kilter or be totally wrong on this matter, but bringing back demos might actually help stifle a little bit with the whole piracy problem. Going, if you can try it before you buy it, you might get more people willing to purchase it instead of just try to download it.
Yeah, that would be a huge benefit to anti-piracy.
Because, yeah, I know there's a number of people who pirate games just because it's free, but at the same time, you can probably state that there's just as many people that are downloading games because they don't want to slap down $60 on something that might be shovelware.
Yeah. And another thing about the $60 for digital games, Sony and Microsoft really need to get their digital pricing in order because I'm not gonna. It's $60 is kind of a ripoff for digital games because these companies are saving on shipping costs, third party, uh, and then the actual disc and box itself. So why can't it be like 49.99 for a new game and lower the price over time like Steam does?
Yeah, well, that's actually bringing up something really major that people, whenever you step into the debates, PC versus console, Steam is always brought up, but going, if Sony and Microsoft want to really step into the whole digital deal, they need to compete with companies like Steam, like Origin, like Green Man Gaming, where because right now I could look up. I think I found I can get Watch Dogs right now, brand new, pre-ordered for $40
Yeah, I saw
on
that
PC.
earlier. That's an
It's
incredible deal.
Yeah, it's going that you kind of need to compete with the others there because if you have a halfway decent PC going, I can get the game for $40 right now, brand new, pre-ordered, or I can get it for $60. There might be a little bit of hesitation with sticking with console, and they really need to step up their game with competing price-wise.
Yeah, and Microsoft was trying to do this early on with the DRM and a lot of digital gaming and stuff like that, but there's a lot of problems with that. But I wish they did kept with the DRM to get the cheaper games, because I was really looking forward to that.
Personally, I think if they didn't have Don Matt or what was his name that went off to Zynga,
Yeah, Don
if
something.
yeah, if they didn't have him trying to spokesmodel it and they would have done it a different way, they probably could have kept everything and kept the gamer and the consumer happy going. That first off, making it the player's choice. Going,
Hmm.
do I want to connect this to my account or not? Yes or no? And going, if you do, then you get all these side benefits, and all that. And then actually making it so it's not up to the publisher's choice if you can resell a game, but make it up to the consumer themselves going, I want to go into my account, I no longer play this game, remove it, the code is gone, and then you can take it to GameStop or wherever, but then really promote the benefits of buying digitally with a straight DRM.
Yeah, I think that's how that could have been successful and actually worked for Microsoft.
But instead, we got hashtag deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually feel like Microsoft has been pushing digital games lately because I don't know if you heard, but they said in June they're going to be discounting Forza 5 and Rise Center Rome, two major games, exclusive games for the Xbox brand, for 50 to 75% off. And that's huge discounts.
That would actually get a number of people interested, even those that were turned off from. Well, Forza wouldn't be an interest to me because I don't play racing games, but Rise kind of was a turn off from me as soon as I started seeing how often the QTEs were popping up in the E3. But if it's like 50, 75% off, I might pick it up just to mess around with it because now it could be shovelware or it could be great,
Yeah,
you know.
and now that they're giving 50 to 75% off Forza, I'm probably going to go to GameStop, trade in my physical copy of Forza, get the trading credit, and then just buy it digital because I prefer digital.
Yeah.
That
Well, sorry. Go ahead.
well, that's basically what I would do too, since I'm starting to switch to digital now because I have Rise on disc and I don't really need it on disc anymore. I'd rather have it digital. So most likely I'll go trade it in, get the money for it, and go buy two digital games for the price of one.
Yeah, and there is a lot of benefits to buying something digitally. Going that I am one of those old school players or old school gamers where I've got a huge deal of all of the games that I've bought over the time, being it disc or cartridge. But at the same time, digitally, like you buy something through Steam or Xbox Live or whatever, going you can uninstall it and it's not taking up any physical space and you can go back to it with just a quick download.
Yeah, my biggest benefit of going digital is the lazy factor. I don't have to get up to switch out games. I can just exit out, pick a new game.
And that is a really important factor there, right, too. Going, how simple is it for me to switch between?
Hmm. And I feel like that Microsoft with the gold membership, I think they should like discount the game if you have gold membership. Maybe like 10% off all digital games. I feel like that could really push the digital ecosystem.
Yeah. And right now, it was, well, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago or maybe a week ago where GameStop had actually stated that they're going to start moving towards selling cellular phones and stuff like that because they know that the market is moving digitally and eventually the stores like what they have are going to one day be obsolete, so they're needing to evolve.
Yeah, because I think GameStop's biggest revenue base is from used games, and by going everybody going digital, they won't have used games to actually sell to consumers.
Yeah, although there was also another article a couple days ago. This was with the sales of the Xbox One going that GameStop had stated that the connectless Xbox Ones are now suddenly being high demand. So quite honestly, we might see a huge jump in sales for the Xbox One.
Yeah, I saw that article too, and I feel like that's Microsoft should have known that ahead of time because the $100 difference is a huge difference alone. Because I know some of my friends were gonna get an Xbox One, but when they found out it was $100 more expensive and they weren't gonna use the Kinect, they just easily went to the PS4.
Yeah, and quite honestly, at least for the time being, the games on the PS4 look better. They run better.
Yeah, and a big driving force in the beginning was, what should I do? Buy a PS4 for $100 less and get better graphics? It was a no decision on which platform to go with.
Yeah. So yeah, if Microsoft would have done a few things different for the beginning of the life of the Xbox, they might actually have been neck and neck with PlayStation this entire time. But they've got a new guy at the head of Xbox division, and he seems to actually be doing things right. So
Yeah, I really think that Phil Spencer can really turn around this Xbox brand. And to be honest, everybody's been making a big deal on the PlayStation crushing the Xbox One sales, but they're only selling like 2 million more, and they've been in like an extra 20 more territories than the Xbox One. So I really don't think it's that big of a deficit.
well, and really at the same time, one of the major things to look at, I'm going to try to pull it up as I'm talking about it, and that is downright software sales. Let's see here. Because last I checked, software sales between the big three were not that big of a difference. You know,
No,
all
yeah,
of them. I think the PlayStation was, in the first place spot, followed by the Xbox One and Wii U, but they weren't that different. They weren't that far off from each other.
yeah. I can't remember the stat, but I think it was really close. Actually, like a tenth of a difference in how many games each gamer actually owns. I didn't think it was a huge difference.
Yeah, let's see here. Pulling it up right now. Software by platform. Right now, PS3, Xbox 360, they're the ones killing it right now.
Yeah,
Still.
they have a bigger install base still, though.
Yeah, let's see here. Third place is 3DS. Fourth place is PS4 with the 400,000 plus. Then comes PC, Wii, DS, the Vita, Wii U, and X1. But even the difference between the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One is about 300,000, and that number can change really fast, really rapidly, before anyone realizes what's actually going on.
Yeah, and I just got a quick question. Is that counting software sales, or is that just counting physical sales?
It just says software, so it'd be total, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so this is not, like Xbox has been saying, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We will find out who the ultimate victor probably won't be an ultimate victor because if you look at PS3 and 360, they're not that big a difference in sales. I really don't think it's going to be any different for this generation.
Well, and really anyone that's watching, being it people still cheering on Nintendo to pull out of it, people cheering on Xbox to catch up, going, just remember where the PS3 was at the same point in time in the generation, going that anything can change. We are talking about a good 7 to 10 years,
Yeah,
and that's a long time.
yeah, and if you're any type of gamer, you want all three companies doing well. It just makes sense for the gaming industry.
Yeah. Being even if you aren't fan of what one console or whatever makes, but wanting one of them to die is probably about the worst thing that you could ever want to happen.
It just competition is good for consumers, and if you don't have any competition, if only Sony was the only gaming company out there, and if you want to play a game, you had to go through Sony, it would be a terrible customer satisfaction.
Yeah, going, yeah, yeah, because quite honestly, then what are you going to do? Going, well, if you want to play a game, you got to put up with us. You
Hmm.
know.
They could implement whatever the policies they wanted. They could charge basically whatever they wanted for it.
Well, and the thing is then games would be stagnant too, because without competition, then innovation will never happen.
Hmm.
There'd be no reason for it to.
Yeah. But that's basically everything we have on our week 2 podcast. I just want to let you guys know that all 3 of our channels are down in the description. You can watch on any of our channels, and you can also go to iTunes and type in the Broken Podcast, and all of our episodes are on there, so you can subscribe to there. They're free, and basically that's it. We'll see you next week. Anything else to say, guys?
No.
Not just thank you for watching. Have fun. See you next week.
All right, I'll see you guys later.